welcome to Success Search. In this video, I will share a book overview of Work Rules by Lazlo Bock. This kind of book will help you understand the kind of rules that will make work phenomenal. So what is this book? Like I said, it was written by Lazlo Bock, who was a former head of the people operations at Google. Throughout his years working for it, he learned insights from Google about the principles that make it a successful company. From founders to employees, Lazlo learned what it takes to effectively live and lead within a workplace. After his days at Google, Lazlo developed his work rules that can be applied to workers in various companies. So what is the book about? The book contains about 13 chapters, and each chapter focuses on a work rule with details and stories. Those kind of rules include Google's approach in managing workplaces and treating employees. It also gives insights on what made Google unique and prosperous when it comes to leading and living in a workplace. Thus, it's recommended for anyone who wants to improve their businesses or work departments. So without further ado, let's dive into the work rules. The first rules the book mentioned are rules for becoming a founder. It doesn't mean starting a new company. It means making a difference within your company as a founder would. The founders of Google, Larry and Sergey, wanted workers in Google to use their talents and skills to do meaningful and impactful projects that would help out the world. They figured that when thinking of yourself as a founder rather than an employee, you would have the incentive to do more than your daily routines and make a difference. Thus, the work rules for becoming a founder are 1. Choose to think of yourself as a founder, and 2. Now act like one. The second round of work rules revolves around building a great culture. The first rule for that is to think of your work as a calling with a mission that matters. Since all organizations, including Google, have their mission statements, workers must strive to help fulfill the mission of their organizations. Though most mission statements are ideals rather than temporary goals, they help incentivize workers to help make progress in their services and products. When thinking of your work as something that contributes to the mission that matters, you'll do things that matter most to your company. Assuming that employees have that kind of mindset, managers ought to give people slightly more trust, freedom, and authority than they're comfortable giving them. Certainly, managers must make sure that their constituents do not break the rules. However, giving them more freedom would help spark their creativity in solving problems and develop ideas for the benefit of the company. So by giving employees more trust, freedom, and authority, they are more likely to enhance the culture within the company. And if you're not nervous, you haven't given them enough. Of course, when it comes to having good people as employees, Google offers work rules for hiring. From the experience of founders during the early days of Google, they strategized with limited resources. To improve their company, the founders invested their HR dollars first in recruiting. However, it was costly for them to seek the best professionals to hire. So, they instead took the time to hire people who are better than them in some meaningful way. Letting managers hire their own teams would most likely result in the company having the wrong employees. So it would be best to hire as a group of company founders. During recruiting, it's important for a company to find the best candidates for the job. But in Google, they offer some rules for finding exceptional candidates. One is that you should get the best referrals by being excruciatingly specific in describing what you're looking for. In other words, clarify to your referrals and applicants what kind of qualities and experience you want out of them. Secondly, you should make recruiting part of everyone's job. Ask your workers and employees if they know anyone in their network who would be fit for open positions. Lastly, don't be afraid to try crazy things to get the attention of the best people. For example, Google used a coding puzzle in their advertisement to intrigue those who are best in coding. Furthermore, in hiring, Google also has work rules for selecting the best employees. First, you should set the high bar for quality, meaning that before you start recruiting, decide what attributes you want and define as a group what the great candidates are. Like how the book mentioned before, a good rule of thumb is to hire only people who are better than you and do not ever compromise. Secondly, you should find your own candidates through various platforms. LinkedIn, alumni databases, and professional associations make it easy. Thirdly, assess candidates objectively. Include subordinates and peers in the interviewers. Make sure interviewers write good notes, and have an unbiased group of people make the actual hiring decision. Periodically, you should return to those notes and compare them to how the new employee is doing in order to refine your assessment capability. And last of all, give candidates a reason to join. Make clear why the work they are doing matters, and let the candidates experience the astounding people they will get to work with. Managers can find it hard to empower and motivate their constituents in doing the best work. However, Google has some work rules for mass empowerment. One is to eliminate status symbols. This doesn't mean eliminating visible levels such as manager and vice president, but trifling titles that make positions hierarchical. They argue that titles with less meaning tend to make employees less motivated and undervalued. So it's better to give titles that reflect the employee's value and meaning. Two is to make decisions based on data, not based on managers' opinions. Certainly, making decisions based on opinions and bias tend to be bad decisions. Using data about the company and employees can help you navigate and make better decisions. Three is to find ways for people to shape their work and the company. Often, companies find it ineffective for managers giving detailed directions to employees in everything they do. So Google encouraged managers to trust their employees and allow them the agency to do everything with their best judgment. With employees doing most of the work, understanding their performance is crucial for the success of the company. However, most of everyone hates performance management. Thus, Google has rules for that. The first is to set goals correctly to better motivate employees. Ideally, the goals should be too ambitious to achieve, because co-founder Larry reasoned that if you set a crazy ambitious goal and miss it, you'll still achieve something remarkable. For example, if you shoot for Mars and miss it, at least you'll land on the moon, which is better than staying on Earth. The second rule is to gather peer feedback. Of course, gathering peer feedback from employees would help give insights about work and performance. The third rule is to use a calibration process to finalize ratings. Most companies use various types of performance ratings. However, they often fail to identify the errors and biases involved in rating employees. Thus, they use the calibration process to critically think before finalizing ratings on employees. The fourth rule is to split the reward conversations from development conversations. Most often, managers would talk to their employees about performing better and rewarding them for that with a raise every year or two. However, the two topics shouldn't go together. Managers should often talk about development to employees so that they can improve. Then after months of development, they can talk about the rewards for their performance. Now, every company has their two tails regarding employees. The 5% who are the best at work performance, and the other 5% who are the worst. So Doodle offers some rules for managing their two tails of employees. First of all, we should help out those in need, particularly the bottom 5% in the normal distribution, by addressing the problems to them and offering support in any way. The employees can improve their performance, which would also help increase the company's performance. Secondly, we should put our best 5% of the people under a microscope. In other words, we must observe what they do that makes them successful, and how we can apply their habits to the workforce. Third, we must use surveys and checklists to find the truth and nudge people to improve. Since management on people is complex, the best way to evaluate them is by filling out surveys and checklists to see if they're doing their best performance. If they are weak in some areas, then we should nudge them to improve. Most of all, we must set a personal example by sharing and acting on our own feedback. Certainly when giving feedback to others, we must make sure that we also abide by what we wanted others to do. Otherwise, we will be hypocrites and people will not take our advice. When it comes to training employees, Doodle also has work rules for building a learning institution. One is to engage in deliberate practice by breaking lessons down into small digestible pieces with clear feedback and do them again and again. Employees can better process shorter and simple lessons rather than long and complex lectures. Plus, providing feedback as employees practice the lessons will help apply them well. Second is to have your best people teach. Having employers and employees in the top performance level can help employees and others in their lower levels of performance. Since the best people know how to perform better, they should share the lessons with others so that they can improve. And third is to invest only in courses that you can prove change people's behavior. Many courses fail to motivate employees to improve. Google offered several courses for employees and selected the ones that have greater impact on their behaviors. Thus, we better invest in courses that do have impact. Now, most companies pay equal amounts to their employees, but how is that fair to employees who are top performers? Also, how can a company thrive without reward and recognition for performances? With that, Google thought it would be better to pay unfairly, and has rules for that. Their first rule is that we should swallow hard and pay unfairly by having wide variations in pay that reflect the power law distribution of performance. You can see the graph of performers and how the part shaded green represents the few high performers. The top performers would likely stay in your company if they receive payment larger than average, since it reflects their value. The second rule is for us to celebrate accomplishment, not compensation. In other words, employees want more than compensation-based rewards. They want recognition for their accomplishments within the company. The third rule is for us to easily spread the love within our company. Since people wanted to be loved, employees can express appreciation towards each other through gifts, rewards, and much more. The last rule is for us to reward thoughtful failure. All of us will face failures, especially in risk-taking projects. Since Google wanted to incentivize employees to do their best, they would reward them for their thoughtful efforts, even when they fail. That way, failures can be seen as pathways to success if we learn from them. Furthermore, Google has work rules for efficiency, community, and innovation within workplaces. The first rule for that is to make life easier for employees. Similar to how entrepreneurs solve customer problems by launching products or services, Google used innovative ways to enhance efficiency and community among employees, such as creating employee resource groups. The second rule is to find ways to say yes. Most employees tend to accept opportunities because they thought opportunities might disrupt their work. However, opportunities are meant for employees to learn and improve. Thus, Google encourages and even rewards employees to say yes to opportunities. And finally, the third rule is that just in case bad stuff happens in life, be there for your people. People will experience such things as death of a loved one. So Google provided benefits to employees who were in need, such as life insurance to employees suffering cancer. Thus, a company would be the best company when helping others in need. Because people needed to progress to their prosperous potential, Google also has work rules for nudging toward health, wealth, and happiness. The first rule is to recognize the difference between what is and what ought to be. Since companies will always face problems or discomfort, managers and workers would have to be proactive in solving those problems. The second rule is to run lots of small experiments. Since Google wanted to work for the welfare of their workers, such as encouraging healthy food selections, they ran experiments that would incentivize employees to do healthy habits. The third and most important rule is to nudge and don't shove. Giving creative friendly reminders or nudges about their welfare is more effective than obligating them to do so. Since all of us will face mistakes as employers or employees for our company, Google has work rules for screwing up. First is to admit your mistake and be transparent about it. Second is to take counsel from all directions. Third is to fix whatever broke. And finally, find the moral in the mistake and teach it. And that concludes the work rules Google has to offer. Since they do offer a lot of rules, here are the main takeaways summarized in 10 steps. 1 is to give your work meaning. 2. Trust your people. 3. Hire only people who are better than you. 4. Don't confuse development with managing performance. 5. Focus on the 2 tails. 6. Be frugal and generous. 7. Pay unfairly. 8. Nudge. 9. Manage the rising expectations. And 10. Enjoy. Go back to step 1 and start again. So how can we apply the rules? While the rules may be hard to apply, you can experiment the rules in the business world, starting with your workplace. You should particularly keep them in mind as you start your own business, work as a manager, or lead others in work projects. Certainly the rules may have come from Google, but they can help out companies who want inspiration on how to effectively live and lead. With that, thank you for your time and watching. If any of the rules stand out to you, go ahead and apply them. That way, you'll find your way to become successful in your workplace. And until next time, keep on searching for success.